As many of you know, I have had a progressive hearing loss all my life, and I was very fortunate to receive a cochlear implant in my right ear 3 years ago. Until then, I had struggled with communication using lip reading, location placement, hearing aids, and other technological devices to connect to the life around me. It hadn't stopped me from living, however. But there was one thing that amazed me while I was adjusting to my cochlear implant, and that was listening. This is evident from this brief selection from my book, To Hear the Birds Sing, as I talk about visiting another church in East Greenwich. Quote, "The last time I was at St. Luke's, I had struggled to hear the minister sermon, even though he uses a microphone. Eventually, I tuned out and started to daydream, my usual habit. I did think about God, though, and I counted my blessings. Well, this time, with a little bit of effort and studious concentration, I was able to understand most of the sermon. It was a challenge, as I'm not used to paying attention or listening, and I had to work hard to focus. Being able to hear did not automatically mean that I could listen, after not doing so for most of my life. Being able to hear did not automatically mean that I could listen. Many family members and close friends who knew me then can attest to that. I remember once when I decided to confront my sister when she was visiting us. Our communication had always been strained. One morning, I decided to face this, and I said to her, "Does my hearing loss bother you?" At first, she was taken aback. "No," she said, "but your talking too much does." Well, I tried not to be taken aback. I remained calm, and I explained to her that many people with hearing loss tend to talk too much because it is easier to talk than to listen. Then I asked her if she would email me, as I could not use the phone. This helped our relationship. Being able to hear does not automatically mean that we listen, does it? Let's think about how we relate to others in various situations. Some examples could be book clubs, showers, family gatherings, parent-child, or friends having conversations. Are we always attentive to the other person, listening openly to what they have to say and giving them our full attention, instead of thinking about what we want to say next, or even worse, interrupting because we get so excited about our thoughts? Sometimes in book clubs, it's easy to do that. One person wants to share a profound thought or an observation relating to the book. Someone else gets up excited and says, "Oh yes, I did that when I was on vacation." Then somebody else says, "Vacation? Where did you go on vacation this summer?" A third person jumps in with how she is planning a trip to Europe next year. Pretty soon, the poor original lady who spoke is sitting there with her profound thought that had not even merited a response, let alone a chance to be developed and turned into a meaningful discussion. Now, I know there are techniques to prevent these situations in groups, such as one person speaking at a time while everyone else waits their turn. These are good practices and they need to be followed. Think how differently our book club situation would go if the First Lady said, I like this book because the main character had the courage to go off on her own and start a new life after she had suffered so much pain. The next person could wait calmly and then add, yes, it takes a lot of courage to act that way, and I admire someone who can do that. What has just happened in an interaction like the second situation is that the two book ladies are honoring each other. They are actually respecting each other's perspectives, validating each other, and really showing a form of love for each other. Isn't that what we all want from the special people in our lives? We live in a fast-paced society these days. People drive quickly, work quickly, play quickly, and speak quickly. It is hard to get a word in edgewise sometimes. But how special it is, and it doesn't cost a penny. The next time someone shares a thought with you, or even a simple sentence, stop. Look her in the eyes. Sit calmly and listen carefully to what that person actually has to say. You might learn something new about that person. You might even find out that this person, whom you didn't really care for initially, has some special qualities that resonate with you, and you are starting to alter your opinion about her. This is what happens in life, and it is how we get to know each other, respect each other, and grow to love each other. Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese Buddhist monk, was having an interview with Oprah Winfrey recently, and they were talking about deep listening. He said, deep listening is the kind of listening that can help relieve the suffering of another person. You can call it compassionate listening. You know that listening like that, you give that person a chance to suffer less. You don't interrupt. He goes on to say, deep listening helps us to recognize the existence of wrong perceptions in the other person and wrong perceptions in us. This is very important. And Thich Nhat Hanh says that when we have wrong perceptions about ourselves and the other person, then it is the foundation for violence, conflict, and war. Hanh believes that guns and bombs cannot remove wrong perceptions, but only by deep listening, compassionate listening, and loving space. And that peace negotiations should be conducted in this manner. And so we see that by listening to each other compassionately, we are engaging in a form of love. It is a form of love that can be realized on many levels, within families, our friends, book clubs, society, and among nations. It is a form of love that will help us create peace on earth.